Alrighty. Well, thanks for being here today. Before we get started, I'm going to invite Tammy to share the acknowledgement of Native peoples in the Northwest, also acknowledging that we may be coming from lots of different places, but I'll invite Tammy to share the Seattle U acknowledgement.
Thanks, Bernie, and thanks everybody for being here. It's a privilege to be with you, I have to say, on a Friday evening. So I'm going to drop the land acknowledgement into the chat so you can read it you can take a look at it as I'm reading it. And it will end with just a moment of silence. So wherever you are physically, wherever you are emotionally, existentially, take a moment to just locate yourself, coming from wherever it is that you are. I know Jonathan was running from one place to another, to this place, and to us gathered here together. And this land acknowledgement is written by Dr. Christina Roberts. So the following statement is offered by us as a first step for our community of Seattle University. It's not the last word in how we approach our acknowledgement of the land on which Seattle University stands. It serves as an opportunity to collectively recognize these lands wherever you may find yourself today, and our histories, to honor the Indigenous people past and present who belong to these places, and to have common and consistent language for our events and our ceremonies. So this has been crafted with care and wisdom by Dr. Christina Roberts. As we begin this important celebration of graduation and induction, I invite us all to respectfully acknowledge that our campus, Seattle University, is on occupied Coast Salish land, specifically the homelands of the Duwamish people. To acknowledge this land is to recognize the history and legacy of settler colonialism. It is to recognize these lands, waters, and their significance for the people who have thrived in this region, despite the consequences of displacement and broken treaties. So let us take a moment and pay our respects to Coast Salish elders, past and present, and extend that respect to their descendants and to all Indigenous people. I invite you also to pay respect to the elders, past and present, and their descendants of the land on which you now stand. And if you would like, please put the name of the tribal lands on which you stand in the chat. We will have a moment of silence.
Thank you, Tammy, and thank you everyone for participating in that. Welcome everybody to our celebration. And tonight we're in community together. And so as much as we can be on Zoom, right? And so we're brought together by the amazing leadership shown by the Ignatian Leaders, past and present. Feel free to keep your videos on to cheer and celebrate the accomplishments represented here, whether the person is here or not. Just a little bit about Ignatian Leaders. So Ignatian Leaders are a cohort of experienced SU students in recognition of their embodiment of our mission. Membership serves as an honor for commitment to academic excellence, campus and/or community leadership, spirituality, and personal formation. The purpose of the group is threefold. First, to provide continued personal formation to members. Secondly, to discuss topics with campus leaders. And third, to give back to the campus community. Furthermore, this is done in the spirit of St. Ignatius of Loyola, you may have heard of him before, whose tools we will use to inform all of these steps. And so Tammy's going to tell us a little story to get us started today about St. Ignatius.
Thanks, Bernie. So once upon a time, I'm going to share you a little, let's see. Oh, Bernie, you need to enable screen sharing again. Thank you. Okay, beautiful. And a little slideshow. Hold on a second here. Oh, so sorry. We're gonna go back to,
We see it now.
this is, sorry,
We see Ignatius there now.
there's St. Ignatius, but we're gonna start here. We're gonna start our slideshow at the Chapel of St. Ignatius. This isn't a great rendition of the, it's a beautiful rendition. When the chapel is all opened up, go take a look at it, light a candle, to be thinking about something that you need or someone else needs. And these icons depict the story of St. Ignatius. So I'll tell you, I'll just share a little bit about his life. And I do have a cheat sheet in front of me, which, as we know, Father Steve would not need. And some of you gathered here would also not need. But I love that his name was Inigo, because, of course, from The Princess Bride, my name is Inigo Montoya, right? But his name was Inigo Loyola, with a lot of other names in between. And he was born in a castle, Loyola, and it was in Basque country. And so what I'd love to make a connection to St. Ignatius, if you want to learn more about the Basque people on our own campus, Michelle Etchert, who works for the Division of Student Development, is of Basque descent and can tell you a lot about that heritage and that region and how amazing and complicated it is. It was then too. So he was the youngest of 13 children. He was raised in a culture of a lot of piety, but in his ability to kind of determine his own future, he was very what we would call worldly. So he was very invested in the things that would get him kind of fame and fortune. So academically a little bit sparse, skipped over Latin and all the rest of it to learn swordplay and chivalric types of things. Liked the ladies, liked to read novels, so was very invested in what would have made him very, popular at the time. There's the Basque region. It's so funny to screen share because I can't see my whole slideshow. I'm sure all of you have had this experience, right? So he ends up with the military, which was a great way to achieve kind of fame and fortune. And in Pamplona, in the spring of 1521, the French army attacked Pamplona, and he was one of the people who tried to defend it. In the process, he was shot in the leg by a cannonball. And the story is that the French soldiers were so impressed with his bravery that they helped him off the battlefield. So his broken leg gets set, not so properly. He's a little bit worried about the fact that one leg will be shorter than the other because he's a little vain. And so they re-break it and reset it. And so he has a long convalescent period. And so let me just move this forward. So while he's convalescing, he doesn't have his romantic novels. I have this image of all these ladies taking care of him, and they were like, no, we don't have any romantic novels, but what we do have is an illustrated life of Christ and a book of the saints' legends, and we think you should read it. So I have this image of all the ladies taking care of him, maybe his aunts and different people. I don't know if that's true, Father Steve, but they certainly gave him some meaty stuff to read that he really had not really reflected on before in his life. So even though he had before dreamed of how the exploits on the battlefield would bring him fame and fortune, he started to think about imitating the lives of people who were more holy, like St. Francis of Assisi and St. Dominic, who had dedicated themselves to God. So as he reflected on these experiences, he soon was healed enough to walk. So he began a journey to Jerusalem. I'm going to skip ahead here. I'm going way too slow, aren't I, Bernie? And so I'm going to skip ahead. Oh, yeah. What is this place? Father Steve, do you recognize
This
that?
is Montserrat, where he went in order to, when he began his pilgrimage, and he hung up his sword there, and he
Mhm.
committed himself to a life of poverty there. And that's a Benedictine monastery in northern Spain.
So you'll hear as well about Our Lady of Montserrat, which is an image of the mother of Jesus, Mary, the mother of Jesus, who where he laid his sword down. And so his idea was really in looking at his life and looking at St. Francis of Assisi, especially, and different holy people, was that, sorry, these are my dogs yapping in the background. And looking at his life as he thought, oh, I'm going to be the best contemplative in the world. I'm going to be just like them. I'm going to be the most holy and ascetic person. So he really explored that for a while. When he moved on from that, it was to really understand that he needed to be in the world in a different way than he had been in the world before. And so he went back, fast forward here a little bit. He goes back to school. He has to go to a few different schools. He goes back to learn Latin with young folks. So if anyone has ever seen the Olive video, there's this image of him with kids and spitballs, sort of going back with the young folks to relearn what he did not learn. And in the end, he went to Paris and, whoops, I'm skipping ahead here, because I had too many images from here. There we go. So as he studies, and he formulates the ideas that came from his pilgrimages and his really deep reflection when he was back at Montserrat, when he was on the River Cardinere, where he believed, and we talked about this a little bit the last time we met with the Ignatian leaders, that the world was God teaching, that God was in the world and his teacher, that God was revealing to him and revealing to all of us God's presence in the world, and that the world is good. And so out of this come his spiritual exercises. Out of this come all the things that we talk about in terms of discernment. The new Ignatian leaders are going to be doing some communal discernment. The next time they meet, they're going to be talking about areas of consolation and desolation in their life. And you see that from this kind of cartoon image, that idea of balancing, the examen being holding things in the balance, looking at your day in the balance, and understanding how God is being revealed in your days. So with open kind of hands and heart, he welcomed companions on his journey. We think today of the Jesuit priests as his companions, and the Jesuits invite us into that journey of companionship. That St. Ignatius of Loyola is an example for not just a Jesuit priest, not just Father Steve, and as you call him, Dr. Father Eric on campus, Eric Watson, and all the priests that you meet, but an example for all of us who are a part of Jesuit education. And when you look at this image, which is in the Chapel of St. Ignatius, you might, we could just Photoshop your face into one of those people standing behind St. Ignatius as what we call a contemplative inaction. So taking the time to reflect on our lives and then moving out into the world in a different way, really seeking God's presence in that world, seeking meaning, seeking what is sacred in our lives. And so these actually are the shoes of St. Ignatius. They're in Rome. And I think it's a nice way to end, because it says that as Ignatian leaders, you are putting on the shoes of St. Ignatius in a really unique and special way. Unique and special to you as individuals, because God has given you unique and special gifts and a way that you can share those in the world. And unique at Seattle University as recognized leaders, those of you who have graduated, those of you who are coming onto your last year at Seattle University, that you also make Seattle University unique and special by your presence. And so when I look at these shoes and how well worn they are, and I think of all of us in some way walking in these footsteps, trying to walk in these shoes, to be in the world in this particular way as contemplatives in action. So that is my story. That is not the end, right? So we have these shoes on a journey, and it's not the end of the story. You all are going to take the story in a whole new direction. One of the things we always say to the first year students, maybe you heard us say it, is Seattle University is going to be different because of who you are. What we say today is to you graduates, Seattle University is different because of who you were. And to those of you coming into the Ignatian Leaders, that Seattle University is going to be different because of who you are individually and collectively, walking in the footsteps of St. Ignatius.
Thank you so much, Tammy. This will be, the incoming group is Father Steve's last Ignatian Leader group. And so what better timing and what better person to speak next but Father Steve. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks, Bernie. Great to be with you. You know, I'm feeling a little bit student starved at Seattle University. I tell people I walk across campus and I see, 6 people walking dogs and 5 construction workers, and I don't see any students. So I miss you all. It's great to be able to see you. And congratulations on graduating from Seattle University and having been in the Ignatian Leaders and those who are coming into it this year. It's just great to have you on this. It means a lot to me as a Jesuit that there is a group that's called the Ignatian Leaders and are inspired by what the life of St. Ignatius is about, that Tammy told you so well about. You did a great job there, Tammy. Thank you. It's a complicated kind of life, so you got to kind of pick and choose what you say because there's a lot to it. I remember when the Ignatian Leaders were founded, I think it was about 15 years ago. And it's a wonderful thing because it's a group of seniors and it's a group of people that have shown leadership. And it's a group of people that we believe are open to an inspiration in regard to values and spirituality. Will be of service in some way within Seattle University or within the community or within other students. And also will be advisors, particularly to Dr. Alvin Sturdivant and myself in student development and in the president's office. So that's the idea about the Ignatian Leaders. And it's great to welcome you in, and congratulations to those who have been Ignatian Leaders in the past and have graduated from Seattle University. I just have one thing to say really is that I've always thought that we could put in one sentence what we really want to be about at Seattle U. And the sentence is simply this: every Seattle University student will experience an integrated Jesuit education for leadership. So that's the sentence. Let me say it again. Every Seattle University student will experience an integrated Jesuit education for leadership. And what it's about is we're trying to say that only the student can integrate themselves. I mean, I can't do it. The university can't do it. Your professors can't do it. None of your advisors can do that. You have to pick up the pieces that others kind of help you find, and you've got to find the way to bring those together. But we believe that there's 4 things that you have that you can integrate, and that if you do integrate these, then you are really a leader. So the first one is your academic life, and that's your intellectual life, your intellectual curiosity, your major, your studies, your academic life, and that's important. But that's just one part of it. The second part of it is your social life, your relationships, your friendships, your cohorts, what you belong to, what you care about, who you associate with, who's going to be your friends for life, who you're going to be connected with. So your social life, your academic life, and your social life. Not easy to bring those together somehow. They can kind of be, I got my academic life over here, and I got my social life over here, and there the twain do meet. Integrating this, not all that easy. The third thing is sort of the academic life, the social life. The third is the spiritual life or the value life. Either way you can say that. And that's the part about the deepest core of who you really are. And what do you sense within yourself as the invitations from life and what you're being called to be. And what are your deepest kind of inspirations, whether they're religious or whether they're humanistic or whatever they might be. What are the deepest sort of spiritual movements? And we do know that college students are very hungry spiritually. They're not hungry religiously, but they're hungry spiritually, and they're seeking for something that is sacred and important. So integrating the academic life, the social life, the spiritual or value life, and the third is the life of service, service of others, the service life. And those four things, you know, like who are you gonna make a difference with in terms of what your education has been? Who are you going to stand with? Who's going to count in your life? That's sort of the question about your service life, the academic life, the social life, the spiritual life, and the service life. And you know, it can happen that at a university, those are four different things. And you can probably think right now, well, I got my academic life and I got my social life and I've got something of a value or a spiritual life and I've got the service life too. But can you make them one? Can you bring them together? Can you make the academic impact the spiritual? Can you make the spiritual impact the service? Can you make the social impact the academic? And it's the integration of those, making them one, having them come together in you, that is the thing that really ends up that what we say every Seattle University student will experience an integrated Jesuit education for leadership. It isn't that you have to add leadership on top of that, but the very integration of those four things are what makes you to be a leader. So I think that the Ignatian leaders have a unique opportunity for that. I mean, it's kind of a capstone, isn't it, for your experience at Seattle U, that in your last year, your senior year, you have that opportunity to have a cohort of other people that are like you in terms of what their commitments are, and that you can work together and have your time together to grow in those areas in terms of your own leadership. So again, you know, I'm grateful to be able to be with you this evening and to welcome you, congratulate those who are Ignatian leaders who graduated in 2020, and I appreciate being able to have this time with you. So thanks, Bertie. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Father Steve. And thanks for your continued support of this group. Our next step, we hope, is a meeting with you and this group.
Great.
So
let's do it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do from there is taking all of this this great material and celebrating those who have graduated. We know that not everyone could be here, and yet this is why we're recording this today, because we know that last year's graduating class experienced commencement in a virtual world. And so we hope for those of you who are here with us today and those of you who aren't, to know that you're missed on campus. We miss you tremendously. We're very, very disappointed that we couldn't celebrate you with you. But hopefully today we can take a moment to just celebrate you and everything that you did to make an impeccable mark at Seattle U. So one of the things that we do at this event is we provide a word to send you off with. And so in addition to doing that, and usually you get your medals, you've already received your medals in the mail. So what I thought would also be interesting is to provide you some of the words from your nominator's nomination of you to send you off with as well. So I'll get us started, and I'm really happy to see that Allie Gibbons is here. Hi, Allie. So you're up first. And so Allie, the word that came to mind for you is care. And I'll read these words from Marilyn Nash. Allie's cheerful yet deeply sincere personality is a helpful addition to any collaborative venture. Her passion for faith, justice, and right relationship help bring depth, intimacy, and genuine conversation, even in the midst of hard topics, grief, or even conflict. Care is definitely a word she embodies in her own self, her groups, and as a bridge among communities. Thanks, Allie.
And next, we will talk about Ariane Shahidzadeh. And these words are from Stella Roth. And the word that was chosen for Ariane is purpose. Ariane fights for social justice constantly on campus by attending events and starting difficult conversations. He is an open-minded person who leads with love and integrity while being a great listener and an inspirational mentor for younger students.
Up next is Azriel Howell, and the word for Azriel is humility. And this is from Dr. Alvin Sturdivant. Azriel believes it is his responsibility as a global citizen of Earth to give back to his local community while also being mindful of the global community. He believes if I can encourage others through practice of mindfulness, humble leadership, and civility, we can begin to give birth to an ideal reality.
And next we have Chavi Mehra, and you're there.
Okay.
These words are from Carol Cochran, and the word chosen for you is passion. She is someone who will help to elevate the Seattle University name in many different corners in one day. She is a walking example of the type of student you want in the classroom. She is a model of the mission.
Yay, Chavi. Christine Villanueva, the word is strength. And this comes from Lieutenant Colonel Marty Lepak. Christine is the top junior at the time cadet in a competitive Army ROTC program. She is an academic high performer, achieving a high GPA in a very demanding nursing academic program. She is a tremendous leader and mature beyond her years.
And the next one is Dalason Rasavang. These words are from Sabine Chaudhry. And the word that was chosen was dedication. She has shown a commitment to SU's values through her leadership positions, campus engagement, and community involvement. Her desire to make a positive change in our global community has led her to seek membership and affiliations to service organizations. Through her hard work and dedication, Dalason has earned admiration and gratitude, the admiration and gratitude of her peers and supervisors alike.
I'm so happy this person is here today, Jess Juwanich, and the word is reflection. Jess is thoughtful, engaging, empathetic, compassionate, and a leader among leaders. His passion of issues of equity, inclusion, access, and justice serves as a thread throughout his leadership and involvements, and that's from Alvin Sturdivant.
And next we have Michael Ninan, the words from Serena Cosgrove, and the word that was chosen was commitment. Mr. Ninan is a very strong student with deep commitments to inclusion and human rights. During his time as my research assistant, his sensitivity to social difference in Guatemalan society was important for the research project, as it gave the team the opportunity to think about the intersections of race, ethnicity, sexuality, and gender.
Up next is Molly Brown, and to Molly we leave the word persistence. Molly won the Neff Scholarship as a junior, a feather in anyone's cap, because she has already exhibited high scholarship and leadership/service on campus during her freshman and sophomore years. She also served as the chairperson for the Gender Inclusive Housing Committee, whose work ultimately resulted in a shift in housing policy for the 2019-2020 academic year. Molly is a top-tier student and a servant leader on campus, and that's from Dave Madsen.
And next we have Peter Huang and the words of Anna Robertson. And the word that was chosen for Peter was visibility. Through all of his activities, Peter shows up wholeheartedly to his communities, working to increase visibility for and pride within underrepresented communities and to advocate for people on the margins. In this way, he enriches the Seattle University community, shining light at once on the areas worth celebrating and holding us all accountable where we could stand to improve.
And finally, Steph Sanchez. The word here is service. These are words from Paula Lusbader and Carol Cochran. A first-generation college student, Stephanie is a former EMT who volunteered her time in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. A parent of 3 children, she has also volunteered in her faith community, helping victims of human trafficking. She is committed to serving the underserved and victims of human trafficking. She has a deep faith-based resilience, and her church is a source of support and inspiration. So let's take a moment to celebrate our graduate Ignatian leaders. We are so happy for you, and we look forward to the time that we get to see you in person too. Thanks for being here for those of you who are here. And for those of you who aren't, we miss you. It's out there. Okay. So what an honor and a privilege it is for Tammy and I to guide this year's Ignatian leaders. These leaders, like all of our leaders from the past, have already proven that they live out the university's mission and values through their leadership, participation, advocacy, and drive to make a better community for everyone, including Tammy and me. We honor them today and formally welcome them into the Ignatian Leader community. And for those of you who have your pens, feel free to pin yourself as we call your name, and we will also be reading an excerpt from your nomination. So up first is Erica Calloway, social work. This is from Anna Robertson. Erica is such a gift to the Seattle U community. She is embedded in communities across campus and is committed to love on both individual and social scales. She would be an excellent addition to the Ignatian Leaders cohort, a blessing both to her peers and to the university staff with whom she interfaces. Congrats, Erica.
And next we have Thais Hernandez Campero. And Thais is majoring in theology and psychology. And these words are from Joanne Lopez from Campus Ministry. Thais will be a gift to the Ignatian Leader cohort in her contributions as a team member. Thais will bring a clear communication style, a high level of accountability and follow-through, creativity, adaptability, the capacity to learn and implement new skills and knowledge, and the ability to work consistently to meet common goals. So welcome, Thais.
Up next is Megan McCready, who is studying social work. This is from Victoria Carware. I am impressed with her ability to manage so many events and programs and student clubs and maintain an impressive GPA. She has been such a gift to our community as she brings her curiosity and strong personal convictions to the fore and creates space for others to connect and show how they make meaning. Congratulations, Megan.
And next we have Rose Murphy, majoring in public affairs. So Michelle Harper Kowalczyk says in the nomination, I have advised undergraduate student governing organizations for 8 years, and I can attest that Rose's critical and ethical reasoning skills are in the top 5% of students I have encountered. She pairs heart and grace with consistency and discipline, with a proficiency beyond that of her peers. Congratulations, Rose.
Up next is Megan Oakes, who is studying public affairs and theology and religious studies. So many things. When you say Spirit of Seattle University, oh, sorry, it is inspiring, reading the wrong line. It is inspiring to witness Megan seeking not only academic excellence in challenging majors, but also attempting to integrate her intellectual interests and talents with her faith, her work for justice and equity, and her vocational path. And that's from our very own Tammy Liddell.
And next we have Claire Rogers, majoring in public affairs. And these are the words of Joanne Lopez. When you say, oh, this is the one. Bernie, I'm gonna start you.
Sorry.
I mean, it's true for Megan too. When you say Spirit of Seattle University, I immediately, and many of us think, Claire Rogers. And I do not think I am alone. From the beginning of her time at Seattle University, it is clear that Claire cares deeply and passionately for this university and its student body. She is incredibly reflective and seeks out opportunities and conversation partners to guide her in her journey. Congratulations, Claire.
Up next is Nate Ross in biology. Again, from Joanne Lopez. She is an honorary member of the Ignatian Leaders, I think, at this point. He would be an excellent addition to the Ignatian Leader cohort. Nate would bring openness and curiosity to the formational part of the program. He has the capacity to lead in the foreground and the background, and would be a respectful member of the cohort who listened well to other cohort members and the wider student body. Congratulations, Nate.
And next we have Genesis Williamson, majoring in psychology. These are the words of Reverend Victoria Carware. Genesis works to foster a climate of inclusion for all groups by centering marginalized peoples and building a community for sustainable change. She understands well the importance of diversity and inclusion across difference and is showing all the time what it means to be true to herself by inviting others to be true to themselves as well. Congratulations, Genesis.
Up next is Brooke Winalda in biology. In short, Brooke is an excellent fit for the Ignatian Leaders cohort. She would be a team player who committed her full presence to the community. She brings a critical eye toward the margins while entering conversations with a spirit of learning, curiosity, and humility. And those are from Anna Robertson. Congratulations, Brooke.
And next we have Michelle Yee, a nursing major. And this was written by Wilson Dang, who's here. So when I think, Wilson could be saying this. So when I think of care for others, cura personalis, and care for the legacy of Seattle U, cura apostolica, I often think of Michelle Yee. I believe she has shown the care for others and care for the legacy of Seattle U in ways which have positively contributed to residents' sense of belonging, to retention, and to success of Seattle University students. Congratulations, Michelle.
So let's turn off our mics, or turn on our mics and clap and yell and scream for each other so that
Hey,
Resilient class.
All the
we have
graduates,
the best, this
all
is the
the
best,
new
the best
ones.
cohort right here. This is the best one.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So up next, I'm just going to
That's
read.
not my dog.
No, that's Sybil. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
My dog. So why don't you all join me if you can, as we induct our students, our new students, into the Ignatian Leader community. And so I'll invite Tammy to read every other line with me as well.
Thanks,
Okay. We celebrate the many talents that you have been gifted with service to others, and that you have already chosen to share these gifts in such generous ways.
As you continue your service as Ignatian Leaders this year, may the gift of leadership continue to awaken in you as a vocation.
May passion deepen as you find your calling and come to know yourself more authentically.
May your influence on others be guided by a gracious heart and a contemplative mind.
May your creativity serve as an inspiration to all around you, and may your lamp light 100, or 1,000 other lamps, till the darkness is all made bright with the brightness that never ends. Congratulations, you all.
Congratulations.
And up next, we have our very own Dr. Alvin Sturdivant. Alvin.
Thanks, Bernie and Tammy, and good evening, everyone. Let me first begin by thanking our Ignatian graduates for your numerous contributions to Seattle University and for your generosity during your time as students. You've each left an indelible mark on SU and on me. And as Bernie noted earlier, you all are incredibly missed already, even though you've been gone such a short time from the campus. And please know that your legacy continues to be felt, even though you've been gone just a short time, even in this very different academic year. Let me also be among the first to congratulate our newest cohort on your induction as Ignatian Leaders. In your own right, each of you has been a blessing to our campus community, but collectively you represent something larger: inspiration and models of excellence for your peers, advisors and consultants to university leadership, and in many ways, the moral compass of our great university. You are an extraordinarily gifted group of students whose talents are recognized by faculty, staff, and students alike. That, of course, can be told from the readings that Tammy and Bernie did related to each of you, related to your induction into the leadership group. You are the legacy of the 14 cohorts who've come before you. You've already made a significant difference in the lives of so many of us at SU, and yet there is still much that remains for you to do before you graduate. We are incredibly grateful for all the ways you show up and for the ways you've brought voice to the range of issues impacting you and so many others in our community. You are exceptional students in the classroom, actively involved student leaders, engaged citizens in matters beyond the walls of our campus, and among the most courageous Red Hawks for your willingness to help shape the trajectory of this campus with your leadership, with your expressions of authenticity and vulnerability. Seattle U needs strong leaders like you who listen, empathize, create, innovate, and bring people together. So as you embark upon your Ignatian Leader journey, my hope for each of you comes from an adaptation of a Franciscan blessing. May you be blessed with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships so that you may live deep within your heart. May you be blessed with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May you be blessed with tears to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and war, so that you may reach out your hand to comfort them and turn their pain into joy. And may you be blessed with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in the world so that you can do what others claim cannot be done. And so I leave you with the words of an author, William Arthur Ward. Greatness is not found in possessions, power, position, or prestige. It is discovered in goodness, humility, service, and character. It is for these reasons and so many more that each of you has been selected as an Ignatian leader. And so my hope is that you will continue providing the kind of leadership that you have up to this point in your time at SU, and that you will continue to be empowered, to share your voice, to share your authenticity, to be vulnerable, and to continue showing up in all the ways that you've shown up to this point. I'm so excited to engage with you all over this academic year, and I can't wait to see the ways in which you influence how we move as a campus. Congratulations, and thank you so much for allowing me to celebrate with you this evening.
Thanks, Alvin. And to close our time together is Jonathan Brown from the Alumni Association. Jonathan, thank you for being here with us and making it to your desk safely.
I want to keep my comments brief. I am so proud of this group. I find this event, and I attend this event each year, and I get overwhelmed. My job at Seattle U is very externally facing, working with alumni who have left Seattle U and doing everything that I can to bring them back. And I know in my heart that the 83,000 alumni that you will eventually join our body of alumni would be most proud of the work that our Ignatian leaders do at Seattle U. That your impact on your communities, the direct action that you take to get recognized for this honor. It truly, I was typing in and texting a couple of you as we were going through. This is what I think is my favorite honor that we bestow upon Seattle U students. It's just so meaningful and connected to our mission. As I work with alumni leaders, I often am looking for people who can carry the banner of the Seattle U mission into their own communities as alumni. And I just want to personally invite you to not forget that your relationship with Seattle U doesn't end with your diploma and with graduation. In some ways, it just begins. Hopefully, you will spend a lot more time being an alum of Seattle U than you have been being a student. And this is something that you can help us do at Seattle U, is to stay engaged, involved, and keep us honest on our work to achieve our mission at Seattle U moving forward. So to all of you, both are new alumni, and I am always looking for alumni leaders to engage with. So please reach out if you are ready to come back and still serve at Seattle U. But to those of you who are new inductees, please, I'd love to spend some time with you this year and just get to know you a little bit, say hello, and get some guidance on how we can keep Seattle U experience moving forward from this day on. So thank you so much for the opportunity to say congratulations.
Okay, and we've reached the end of this event. It always feels a little weird at the end of Zoom stuff, doesn't it? To be like, how do we go? Especially at a campus like SU, because we just, this is when we're like high-fiving and group hugging and, just excited for each other. And it feels weird not to do that on Zoom, but sending you all virtual hugs, virtual high fives, whatever you need in your day. We all need more of that. Yeah, thanks, Genesis. And really proud of our graduates. We miss you. We still, like I said, we still celebrate you. We're so excited to have you here today. It's so nice to see your faces. Come back, get a graduate degree. And for the new inductees, just so happy to have you here and to celebrate you today all together as Ignatian leaders. So with that, we're all finished for the day. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again. See you now. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to everyone.
Bye, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Allie.
Bye, Chavi. So good to see you.
And Chavi. So good
You
to see you.
too. I'm wearing my resilience cord today to get myself hyped up.
Nice. Love it.
Wilson, beautiful nomination.
Yes.
Of course. Thanks for hosting and
So
organizing.
beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, just wanted to say hi and bye.
Bye, Wilson. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye,
Bye,
Chavi.
Chavi.
Thank you. Good job, Bernie. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job, Alvin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nicely done, friends.
Yeah, it was
Oh, and go
came
home.
together really nicely.
Oh
Go
yeah, I'm gonna
home,
go after
Ellen.
this. It's like Michelle was still working, so I was like, I can. Oh, we're still recording.
My
Oh,
dogs
oh,
are still barking.